Well, Merry Christmas, ChurchOne. It is great to be with you, and hope you're having an amazing Christmas. I know one thing you're not getting for Christmas. I can say that with all confidence. You are not getting Balloon Dog, at least not the sculpture Balloon Dog. The Balloon Dog sculpture, I'm by no means an art historian, but I did read this, that at one point it set the record for the largest art sale of a living artist. The sculptor Jeff Koons sold the Balloon Dog sculpture for $58.4 million back in 2013. Ironically, it is not a balloon. It is actually made of steel, and it weighs more than a ton, and it is over 10 feet tall. He actually made several of them in all sorts of different colors. The one that you see on your screen is a red one. But one of the questions people ask is like, what is the appeal of this sculpture, the Balloon Dog, enough that people would pay millions and millions of dollars and that they're shown all over the world? What is the appeal? And Koons, the artist himself, describes it as a celebration. The Balloon Dog, right? You have balloon dogs at birthday parties, and they're just eternally optimistic. He described it as a birthday party in sculpture. And the philosopher Byung-Chul Han says that there is something innately appealing about that imagery. He calls it smoothness. One of the things that you'll notice as you look at this sculpture is that it is smooth. You can literally see yourself in it. And many people say that aesthetic is what makes this happy, smooth aesthetic is what makes this sculpture so appealing to people. It's positive, it doesn't injure, it's not jaded. It's like getting a perpetual like button on social media. I don't actually have Balloon Dog, never seen it, but I do have a real dog. We got a COVID puppy back in May of 2020, Brooks. The picture that you're seeing is a picture of Brooks as a puppy. She's obviously bigger now. But here's what I'd say about Brooks. Really cute, not smooth, right? That's one of the fundamental differences between Brooks and Balloon Dog. I can remember early on as a puppy, she ate something she shouldn't, and I had to rush her to the vets, and she got sick all over the back of my car, right? You know, not smooth, really pretty, but not smooth. It's interesting that there are two great holy days in Christianity, Easter and Christmas. Easter deals with the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, and it is in Easter that we make sense of death and the life to come. Christmas deals with the incarnation, the arrival of God in the flesh, God-man, Jesus Christ, coming into the world, God becoming flesh, God with us, Emmanuel. And it is through Christmas that we make sense of life. In John 1, it says that the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. Christmas is about life. It's about real life. It's about God entering the world, living in it, being with us in it, making sense of it all, because He experienced all of it. His life was anything but smooth. Jesus was born into the world not surrounded by balloon dogs and birthday parties, but in a manger surrounded by real animals. God entered this life in a place of great vulnerability, tenderness, humility. He grew up in a conquered land, lived amongst deep divisions that ultimately aligned against him to execute him. Along the way, he taught people that refused to listen. He kept attracting sick and needy people to his side. I love those commercials that are out there. He gets us. And I think that's what they're saying, that he did not live a smooth life, but he lived a real life. He dealt with spiritual and emotional distress, but in the end, he was able to say to his followers that he came to grant them peace. Even though, as he said, in this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. Jesus Christ came and took on flesh. He was not a statue, but a real God living a real life. He is God with us. The question for this Christmas is, are we with him? Further along in John chapter 1, as John is reflecting on this incarnation and God becoming man, he says in John 1, chapter 1, verses 12 to 13, "But to all who received him, who believed in his name, he gave power to become children of God, who were born not of blood or of the will of the flesh or of the will of man, but of God." To all who received him. This idea of receiving is an interesting concept, isn't it? The Ravens will play the San Francisco 49ers tomorrow night in what I think a lot of us are hoping is a little bit of a Super Bowl preview. And one of the positions on the field in the football game will be that of wide receivers or receivers in general. And the main job of the receivers is to catch the ball. But before they do that, before they actually do the receiving, they have to do something before it. They have to get open. They have to create space for the ball to come to them. They have to separate themselves from the defenders enough that they can receive the ball. That makes me think of this idea that to all who receive him, well, what precedes our capacity to receive him? It is our spiritual openness. And where does openness come from? Openness comes through real life. The real stuff that is happening to you, the actual life that you're living, with its joys and its heartbreaks, with its wonders and its doubt, all of it, right, makes up real life. Not a balloon dog, but a real dog. And it makes up real life. And Jesus entered this real life, and he taught us that this real life can open our hearts to God. I remember hearing a story of a new mom who in the process of becoming a mother, became a believer. And someone asked her, like, well, what prompted your faith now that you're a new mom? And she said, I felt a love for something that evolution could no longer fully explain. Her heart was open and she could receive. It's good things that often make us open to receive the love of God. Sometimes it's hard things, death, uncertainty, injustice, the harshness of this world, loneliness, your own failures, your sins, your addictions that tend to keep everyone away. All of those things, right, it can create an emptiness that creates an openness. There are many, many people that through their brokenness have become spiritually open to the love of Jesus Christ. Dallas Willard famously said this. He says, I know exactly where God lives. God lives at the end of your rope. Maybe this evening you come here open, not because of wonder and beauty, but because of hard things. But God can meet us. God became flesh. God lived a life like we lived, dealt with the issues that we dealt with, and opened our hearts to God. It's so funny that we want often God to make things smooth, like balloon dog. But that doesn't seem to be God's primary agenda. He wants our hearts to be open. And I think this is where that idea of children of God comes in. Because it says in John 1 that to as many as receive him, to them he gave the right to become children of God. Children aren't perfect. Children don't have it all figured out. Children are far from smooth. But you know what children are? They are generally trusting and open. Children live in a perpetual state of receiving. One of the great energy that children give to Christmas is their joy of receiving gifts and presents, and that provides this great energy because they just have natural receptive energy. Jesus came into this world so that we might receive him, and in receiving him, we become children of God. As we receive the love of God, as we open our hearts to that, we get transformed into a perpetual state of openness and a willingness to continue to receive it. Would you like to open your heart to God? Would you like to recapture the wonder of being a child? The wonder of being a child is really the wonder of being trusting and open, and you can become trusting and open to God through receiving this incredible gift of God with us. Jesus Christ, Emmanuel, come to this life to open your heart to God. It's as simple as just saying it. It's as simple as recognizing, Lord, thank you for the good things you've given me in my life. Thank you that you love me so much. Lord, I take my brokenness, my pain, my confusion. I use all of this stuff and I open my heart to you, Jesus, and I ask you to come. It says in the book of Revelation, Jesus says, I stand at the door and knock. If you will only open it, I will come and sit with you. My encouragement to you, ChurchOne, this Christmas is to open your heart. Let real life, the life that you're living, open you up to the love of God. Because a full heart or even a broken heart can become an open heart. And an open heart is a receptive heart. And a receptive heart is a living heart. In the book of Ezekiel, written hundreds of years before Jesus walked the earth, Ezekiel talks of this agenda that God has, not for a smooth life, but for an open heart. It says in Ezekiel 36:26, a new heart I will give you, and a new spirit I will put within you, and I will remove from your body the heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh. I've got good news for you, ChurchOne. Unless someone you love has a cool $58 million to throw your way, you're not getting Balloon Dog. But you know, you didn't want it anyway. Here's the problem with Balloon Dog is that you can't love it. You can like it, but you can't love it because it's not real. The only real things can open the heart, and only a real God who entered a real life can give you real love if you will only receive it. And that, Charlie Brown, is what Christmas is all about.